That's not clear.
On the fast side. Are you? Oh yeah, you're our checker outer tonight, right, Kat? You're on the site. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're gonna get started here in 2 seconds. People are like, well, just don't hit record until you're ready, so we don't have to watch me.
Well, then they wouldn't get bonus
I
coverage.
know, they don't get the bonus coverage. It's extra, and it's free. All right.
You're moving in slow motion. You're pixelating.
We need to go on a delay.
Is that?
Yeah, no, that's well, I mean, it's just maybe it'll fix itself.
Maybe that's the way we do technical stuff around here.
I mean, I can't explain why it's doing it now.
On any
all of a
given
sudden work.
Tuesday.
It wasn't doing it before.
Aren't you supposed to bang on something, or at least turn something on, turn it
Wait,
turn
first
it
of
off,
all,
turn it back on again?
If it's fixed, then it's because I did something to fix it. If it doesn't get fixed, it's because
Usually just unplug it
not
and then
possible.
plug it back in.
It's the unfixable problem. I'm sorry.
That fixes 90% of the problem.
You're gonna just have to live with that for the rest of your life. Wherever you go, for the rest of your life, you'll just be pixelated, just go in slow motion.
Well, it'll just fix itself.
Hopefully.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. Come on. Here we go.
I wish we had to ice up before this.
Thank you for joining us for another Tuesday night episode of the WCAC Spectacular. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, welcoming back to the basement Tim Strachan.
Feels like I haven't been here for a long time, fellas, but it's great to be back. Great to be talking about the greatest conference with you guys.
That's
Been
right.
hanging out with my little boy Luke. He's been the man.
Okay, so
He's been awesome.
He's had a week. Coach McGregor, where's the offer? Where's the scholarship? Come on. You better get in there soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna start quarterback training next week. No, I'm just kidding. He's doing good though.
He's Kevin Ricca, just hoping maybe that he can be center to Luke someday.
Sometimes it makes me wonder when St. John's Scarlet and Gray comes knocking on that back door. We'll all see what happens in about 18. We'll figure it out somehow, some way.
He has uncles that all went there.
It was a ridiculously bad Super Bowl for a variety of reasons, and it just had me thinking. I'm thinking championship talk this week on all of our shows, and great opportunity to ask you to hit the subscribe button, smash the subscribe button. It's free. We appreciate it. It helps us. You'll get notifications when we're going live, like we will be, for example, on Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock.
Hey.
At St. John's, rematch between the Cadets and the Bishop McNamara Mustangs, two top-ranked programs in the country still.
Best game in the nation so far. It was so nice we had to do it twice. And we're going to be there on both of them. And you know what happens when we show up with that logo that you need to smash to subscribe? It's definitely going to overtime, or there will be a buzzer beater,
so
and that's
far.
what's going down.
It's in
that's
the
what's
contract.
happening.
It's in the
Write it
contract.
in. Yep.
We'll talk about championship themes on the Audible for our Redskins show on Hawks Haven, and as well as the Hot Box later on this evening with Froghorn and Juice in the basement. But it just made me think, I'm like, championships can be great. I know. I saw one with my own eyes at Catholic University. I love the fact that CBS paid $1 bazillion to bring you one of the worst football games you've seen all year. And these three guys showed up on a really, really cold Saturday at Catholic University and was treated to and helped give the world the best football game, championship or otherwise, that we've seen, not just this year, but more than just this year. So thank you, WCAC, for that. And thank you, Terrible Super Bowl, for reminding me of that.
Yeah. It was like a Valentine's Day price fix. Like the three of us go with our three wives, we get it for like $100. No. We'll pay you the $100. Just let us show up.
Steve Colantoni, WCAC Commissioner, thank you once again for letting us do that and break our teeth, cut our teeth on literally the best game ever. We are in basketball season, and we are thinking about the WCAC tournament, which will be at American University semis and finals February 24th and 25th. Boys and girls will be there. again, hit the subscribe button. You'll get a link to when we go live for 2 girls semis, 2 boys semis, and 2 finals on Monday the 25th. A lot of teams in the league that are capable, especially on the guys' side, and that's where we'll start, that are capable of winning the WCAC tournament, which is an awesome tournament because there's not just one team who you think there's no chance they don't win it. Which, for the purposes of the conversation, we're not taking DeMatha out of it, but DeMatha is the team that anyone who's betting their money or using their own personal chalk, DeMatha is the team you're going to talk about.
They're the Patriots of this conversation.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt. That. But if history has taught us nothing, recent history, in the last, what did we say, Kevin, 7 years, we've seen a variety of teams win it. And we'll circle back to why I said it that way later in the show. The WCAC has strong programs, and in that tournament, some team is going to get hot and give DeMatha a run at some point. Whether it be Friday or Saturday. I'll lead off with the most obvious one in name, but also for what they've done this season. That's Paul VI. They made it into the top 25 nationally. And they are a classy program with great talent, especially in the backcourt. I believe Trevor and Doug, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Keels and our boy Doug, the freshman point guard, classy. If in a tournament situation, as you guys both know, a backcourt that shows up, it can win you the game, and we've seen that in the WCC tournament.
Well, that means that 10 teams can win it because there's 10 backcourts out there that are freakishly
So I just threw one out. You guys take it from there.
But no, I agree with you there, Ken, and that would be my top choice, especially given what they've had to go through and still extend that win streak, unfortunately, until just last night.
32-game streak?
32-game regular season WCAC streak extending over a 3-year span. It's unheard of, fellas.
Yeah.
And
for those kids to continue that streak up until last night, despite losing their top 2 scorers, top 2 players, that's a team that can be dangerous at any given point in time. And now that they've played like a DeMatha, who is the Patriots of the WCAC basketball chain right now, they won't be scared going up against them next time, because they know.
Next time, which is in 3 days, right?
Yeah.
In 3 days, and
4 days,
and it won't be the third game for Paul VI in 3 days. No excuses at all.
It's Sunday.
They had to take care of the Heights. They had a Super Bowl game against the St. John's Cadets, a ridiculous buzzer beater finish, and then turn around the next day because of a water pipe breakage and take on the Stags at home. And you're running a freshman point guard out there, like we say. You lost 2 ACLs and 9 stars before the season started. This is it's tremendous. There's no rhyme or reason why Paul VI couldn't win all of it or any of it. You can see them getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. I'm sorry. It's just what we got going. It's what's going on here. And when we say DeMatha is the Patriots of the league, they have been. The championship amount of championships won is staggering.
All right, let's do that.
It has broken up a little bit, though. No, in the last 7 years, DeMatha's only won 1. And it's kind of nuts how it's kind of evened out a little bit. And thank God, because the numbers were getting to be a bit absurd. In fact, all you fans of the league, if you were told that there was 58 championships won, how many would you suggest that DeMatha has won out of those 58?
Out of 58?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a total stab at this. 32.
I guess 34.
Yeah.
But it's even more than that.
40.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa is right. That number jumped out at me. You're just looking at 40, and you're like, whoa. In 58 years, over 2/3 of the championships have been won. Now, there's a man named Morgan Wooten. Maybe you've heard of him. He might have had a small hand in things over the course of time.
I heard an ad for his camp on the radio today. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, you stick with what you know. You go on the radio for metropolitan area way back in the day. It works out.
Advertised on radio back in the 90s even, but now I'm like, that was just about Coach's camp.
Yeah,
I used to work there.
I used to work there. I went to it. I worked it. Joe Gallagher and Morgan Wooten put that thing together for a long time, and then they went their separate ways for their separate camps later in the summer. Yep. And I parted off to the non-overnight camps where all the fancy kids went, and I just had to go to the Joe Gallagher style, which became the fundamentals camp. But, I always wanted to.
They only gave you the double threat. You had to pay extra for the triple threat.
Hey, look, I'm only 43. I can still do an overnight basketball camp, I think. I never got to go to Mason-Dixon.
They have
all my
those
friends went,
for
but
seniors.
I worked.
Like for adults.
I know, the Duke.
And that's why you didn't make the NBA.
If you think I'm getting into a three-point stance to play a little defense, you're wrong. I'm not moving these feet. I'm reaching, and I'm not going back after I miss a shot on offense. So I'm not paying for that. I can do that right in the street.
Someday when I don't have to worry about money, I'm going to buy you a ticket to that camp and send you.
There's so many things I prefer you to do over that, but I know that if you do that, I will honor it.
And we will be there live. We will bring you. We'll be
smash that
every second.
Smash that logo.
You're right.
You
right.
too can come.
Video diary.
That is some staggering numbers on the championships, and of course, Morgan Wooten had a huge impact on all that.
And
Yo,
and
how
hats
about
off to Mike Jones for keeping the legacy going.
Without a doubt. No, this has nothing. Look,
Oh,
we're just having our
sure.
Morgan Wooten moment.
Sure.
But 23 of the first 25.
Ooh, that's awesome.
That's a good start. It's a good start. If you're going to get to 40, getting 23 of the first 25 is kind of the way to go about it.
Hey, they got them all in. As far as I'm concerned, they're good. It's a lot of other people's turn.
Hey, listen, Morgan Wooten's hands will be in this basketball conference for as long as we're on this planet and our kids and maybe our grandkids. But the one thing that jumped out at me, I rewatched our game film of St. John's McNamara. Frank Oliver, a Morgan Wooten former player and disciple, and you put him in the coaching ring. They went to the Wizard. They went to the 2-2-1, slow down the St. John's pace, and midway through the third quarter, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks.
That's right.
I said, Frank Oliver just went to the Wizard press to slow down St. John's pace. It was never designed to trap or to get the ball, although it did. It was designed to change the pace.
So
of
who
the
they
game.
had playing on the 2 and the 1, yeah. But
yeah.
we called it out. We saw it change. I couldn't accurately identify it, so I turned to you and Darren, and you guys both said it was either box and 1 or 2 and 1.
No, this is the full court press they went to in the three.
The press, that's right.
The three-quarter court, 2-2-1, and all it was is making you execute passes to get over half court to slow you down before you get into your offense.
To make an errant pass.
Exactly.
And Hope Evans was destroying
it. Was like a fly trap.
Yeah,
that's not really just a piece of tape sitting there, but when you get a little curious, you get a little sloppy, all of a sudden your wing hits it, it's over.
And Karamina was making everyone pay with
also
open
had
shots.
an aggressive style to it.
It did.
We had to turn it up, but we did have a trap.
Yep.
We did have
and
a guy like Cordell Smith in the background who could just cover the entire court.
I practiced against that press since I can remember practicing against any press. And when I saw that,
Is this why Morgan always did the flex defense for an entire period of every single practice too?
God, I hated that. Defending against
By the way, Alex Cowan.
No offense, Gary Williams, but the flex
was
the
excellent
worst,
at breaking that press.
Yeah.
The worst offense in basketball. God, I hate it.
All right, well, listen, though. 40 championships for DeMatha. Like I said, 23 of the first 25. I was present. I was present for a couple of them. You did get a couple of them.
I did.
Gonzaga was 7, coming in at second.
Wow.
Holy moly. 40-7.
Carroll's got to be 3.
St. John's.
Ooh.
St. John's with 4. Carroll is 4th with 2. 89 and 93, right in our wheelhouse. We watched that go down.
I know McNamara has 1.
You got that right, sir.
Yes.
O'Connell with 2 and 04 and 13, and Paul the 6 with 12 and 14.
We made our
Can you name the year?
Championship year 95.
Yeah, it was once they got rid of you. They decided to go ahead and take.
And then we also won the city title, which I was there for. They played it at Cole Fieldhouse.
Sure, they always played him at Cole Fieldhouse.
Yeah, and it was a great game. Eric Bethel.
And my dad was the AD in charge. I sold programs for every one of those events.
Yeah, it was a great game.
I mean, that's how I grew up. Did Tracy Bergen go in 95? Was that 95 with Loyola as well?
No, that was 94. It was our senior year of high school. Tracy Bergen was sitting on the rim.
I was going to say, I thought you might have had the greatest basketball season ever with McNamara. And
By the way,
Loyola.
shout out to Tracy Bergen. He just recently followed First Amendment Sports. So hopefully you're watching Tracy Bergen. Loyola Greyhound in the house.
On with my brother.
Get Tracy. Reach out to us.
I got to throw a shout out to my brother Pooh Bear. Unfortunately, he is in the hospital right now. He's hurting a little bit. He's ailing. He's going to be fine. He's going to be good. He's got to pull out of it. He's going to be in there for a couple of days. But those two share one of the best moments in WCAC basketball history. A game at Blair, I believe it was in 1988, where my brother took a charge against Tracy.
On a baseline inbounds when someone was running the baseline,
That's right.
He stepped in front, and back then they didn't have player control. You actually shot the free throws.
Tracy lost the ball right before the collision happened, so they called it player control, and my brother got 2 foul shots and won the game. It was DC Sports Fan did a poll, I a year or so ago, and out of the blue, that was named the #1 moment. It was crazy. I thought it was unbelievable. So
a lot of Kensington voters. I
get those guys on here and
on
talk
that
about
one.
some.
A lot of
Appreciate you
Stragons in
guys.
Kensington.
Welcome aboard,
Yeah.
Tracy. Pooh Bear, get better.
Yeah, get better, Pooh.
Here, you got to be back in time for the Beirut tournament this summer to defend your title,
There you go.
sir. Let's see. Okay, so we got a couple other teams. We got to talk about Gonzaga just because I love what Coach Turner is up to there. It's a good program. They do have good players there. I feel like they got some youth, and
They have youth. The only thing, I haven't seen much, but and this is not really a knock on anybody in particular. I don't think they have the height. I don't think they have the size that some of these other teams have.
it doesn't
and
strike
they
you
are
as
young.
their year when you stack them up against a couple of the other teams.
It's hard to say that about anybody.
I know.
It's hard to say that about a Gonzaga team after what just happened.
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
fall.
You would say that, and then
we
you're
all know what
wrong.
happens. We
Yeah.
all know what happens
Yeah.
in crunch time.
But they're in the mix.
And
they're definitely in the mix.
Yeah, well, they won it 2 years ago.
Chris.
There's some leftover remnants
Yeah,
of championship.
and I see a lot of those players playing on Saturdays
Yes.
and on
That's a
during
fact.
the week
Yeah,
on ESPN.
that's a
and
fact. But yeah, taking that down in 17, there's kids there that are sitting there going, "Listen, there's no sweat. We're 9-4, 7 regular season games to go.
Yeah.
First Amendment doesn't show up at AU for a couple weeks, fellas. So let's let everyone. Hey, when Terrence Williams is out there throwing 30 on people left and right,
He's a great player.
yeah, he is a great player.
And when you get into a win or go home situation, I mean, to me, that's what Likes was all about. I mean, that's what
And
made
still
Gonzaga
is.
won it,
And still is.
and still is. But to me, he was the in that year in
it's
that tournament.
unbelievable watching Chris Likes
Yeah.
dominate at the college level.
Yeah.
From time to time.
We said it on this show.
He went from being a role player last year to being the offense
Yeah.
this year at 5'8".
They had 2 guys that were not way higher, because
Incredible.
when you're a top 80 player in
Yeah,
the
he
nation,
had a couple-
but there was
yeah.
2 guys that were in the 30-40 range that they were really heralding, and we all sat here and said, wait, where do you get a load of this guy?
Yeah.
And then we saw some flashes last year, but this year, like you said, he has been the focal point. He's leading the team in assists and scoring, and I mean, he's going to dunk on you if you turn left for 1
I
second.
can't remember the last time I was scrolling through the menu on the TV and saw a Miami basketball game and said, I'm
Yeah.
going to check that out. But I've done it plenty of times here in the last few weeks.
Sure.
Because I want to just catch Chris Lakes playing.
You got. I mean, I don't want to. We will talk a little bit more about the girls, but I don't want to leave the guys until we cover a couple other programs because
Yeah, there's
St.
like
John's
at
is
least
playing.
3 more that are really in the mix.
St. John's has played real
Yep.
well. O'Connell with Joe
Yes.
Woods played real well. We can talk about our boy Jamal. We can talk about his man Casey Morcell.
Hey, I just got to say that real quick.
Yes.
Everyone saw the buzzer beater, Paul VI
Yeah.
on Super Bowl Sunday. We all have Twitter. We all took a peek at it. What an insane ending. If you take a look at the play that happened before, you see Casey Morcell with time running out on the clock with his team tied at St. John's, ball in hand, double crossover. He gets into the lane, Euro step, absorbs contact on the fadeaway, lefty, outside, off the glass, and in. It was just as sick a move, and there was only 1 second left on the clock. Now, when they go back to the next frame for the inbounds pass from the baseline, they had put, and it's always an unscientific process, but there was 3.3 on there, which gave Paul VI just enough time to extend their win streak by 1 more play. But Casey Morcell is that dude. He's the guy at the end. He will have ball in hand. UVA, Tony Bennett's got a stud coming down. He will play there early and often. He's physical. He suits their program perfectly. I love his game. He's tough as nails. Cannot wait to see him finish. And the Cadets with
We're
a
putting
terrible
him in.
4-game ending.
We're putting Casey Morcell. He's going to be my first induction into the Dominic Logan Neely Club. Players whose names you would never forget because of what they did, but only seconds later
Yeah.
were they forgotten because someone else did something even more amazing afterwards.
That's funny. Yeah.
Dominic Logan Neely, we will not forget you in this basement. We will not forget you.
You know the call would have been, no
Yes.
one does it like the WCAC. I was
Yes.
feeling so great about things.
I know.
And
know.
And listen, you win, and then we all lose. So,
I know.
But we all win,
Yes.
and we all lose. It's such a Charles Dickens thing for
Yes.
us. But you know what? It was amazing, and I would not trade it in.
Dominic Logan Neely Club. So
That's hilarious.
any of you guys out there, you're worried that you're going to get overshadowed by an even greater play in the last 0.7 seconds or whatever of a game, guess what? we got a club for you. It's called the Dominic Loganili Club. Welcome to it, Casey Morcell.
Yeah, but I like to just call it the Ballers Club.
Sure,
sure. All these guys making plays like that. Those are, they're not in charge of time. They got a guy in stripes on the sidelines who's about 70 in charge of that.
That's why we're in charge of.
They just ball out,
making sure people know who the ballers really.
I like to put them
really
in the Clutch Performers Club.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yet, those are the people who routinely don't get mentioned in the Clutch Performers Club on the highlight package that night.
That's a better way of looking at it.
Yeah, we're making sure that people know that these guys are Clutch Performers.
Clutch is clutch. You can't undo it.
Clutch is clutch.
You can pop it, but you can't undo it.
That's a T-shirt we need. The Dominic Logan Neely Club. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen. Hey, who are we missing? Are we missing anybody else?
Oh, I have my. Speaking of T-shirts, I have my. The DMV is on Locks Down T-shirt on tonight.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a whole box full of those.
Yeah, they're for sale. They're for sale.
The DMV is on lockdown.
DMV is on hashtag.
Be a part of it.
Down.
Hashtag. We're gonna.
Nightmare big win over O'Connell.
Yes.
Taking them to 9-6.
That was actually probably. Well, first of all, I think it's their biggest win. They're certainly their biggest conference win of the season.
No, there's going to be a chance that 6 teams in the conference come out of here with 10 conference wins and 20 wins in the season.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take 6 teams that have won 10 games in this conference and 20 on the year and throw them into a tournament? Yeah, let's see how the chips scatter. It's going to be nuts. Can't wait to be there.
How did my boy Kenny McNamara do against O'Connell?
Well, just the way you said his name means he did just fine.
Yes,
brother.
he did. He did just
it.
fine. Congratulations goes out to friend of the show, Keith Feeney. We're looking forward to having him back as a guest and hosting him. He's a great guy. Want to switch over to the girls, or do we want to?
I will say this
out?
on the championship note. Let's just say this: we got to shout it out real quick. There's been 25 girls champions. We're going back to 1994 here, guys.
All right,
the girls
so
started playing ball. Take
domination,
a
right?
Dart.
I'm going to say Seton probably has the most.
Seton's third with 4.
Really?
No, I'd say St. John's is number 1.
Yeah, the cadets. Marie Williams, who will be joining us for the pregame show.
Sorry, Marie,
Saturday.
I guessed wrong.
I'm very excited about that.
Awesome.
Marie is the queen bee. She's going to kill me for saying that, but no one has more WCAC titles and DC and DC championship titles than Marie.
That's awesome.
She's got 4 and 3, and she's a St. John's Hall of Famer who will be joining us. Tune in early. I want to say around 140, 145-ish this week. Ken and I are going to sit down with Maria and talk a little jazz. A bunch of old school St. John's girls are coming back.
Tip-offs at 2, right?
Tip-offs at 2.
Oh, we're gonna get started talking closer to 1:30. Check us out around 1:30.
1:30. My cousin, she's funny, man. She's gonna keep us on our toes, but we're gonna have a great day. She's very excited to get a lot of her old players back in the gym. All the old players that have played against the McNamara's and Setons of the world get to come and see what we know from game 1 is the premier girls high school sporting event in basketball of the nation, happening right in the capital of the United States, the greatest city in the universe. We're going to be sitting there talking hoops that day. And Marie will be there, yes, 98 to 2000. She took down 3, won it again in 2002 before she retired. She was only in there for 9 years, took 4 titles and 3 city championships. And then, with her sister, Patty Langworthy, and Eddie Simpson, they had a 3-headed. They were nasty player. I was the scorekeeper for those times. I was right out of college, and I just loved ball. And my dad was the AD. It was a great time to be a basketball fan, and I can't wait to do it again Saturday. It was a great run.
Who was the?
We had a lot of fun.
Who would anyone know? Maybe that went on to either WNBA or
there was
some amazing players.
There was so many amazing players, and I do appreciate you putting me on the spot
So
right now.
the only guy who actually would know it if I had asked him like an hour
Charles
ago.
was a baller to start it. Jamie Ricka was her first all-conference.
That's what I'm talking about. Throw that out there.
But Dawn Chris, who went to Virginia Tech and had a run, and I'm going to forget 19 players, but look, I'm stopping. I got 3 out.
That's impressive.
And look,
Jamie, you had me at Jamie Ricka.
Oh, that was I did that to get you. So, but no, good counsel. Tom Splain was a 17-year head coach who also won 4 titles.
Yeah.
He only won 2 DC titles. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying there's and Jonathan Scribner with 4 DC titles and 3 DCIAs. Now I gave Marie the neck because in the first 2 years they had a Division II for the young ladies that were coming in as the conference was becoming this conference. They separated from 1 to 2 to let the people coming in, and St. John's won that in year 1 in '95. So moving forward, they went ahead to take care of business. Awesome people, awesome coaches. I'm just glad we're having them on our broadcast again on Saturday with the best 2 teams in the nation. I know there's a team in Miami that might have a little something to say about that, and they should. But it doesn't get any better than what we saw 2.5 weeks ago than what we're going to see on Saturday. Seton with 4, we talked about. Paul the 6 won 14, 15, and 16. That's their 3. The Mustangs from McNamara in 03 and 08, and O'Connell and Holy Cross with 1 each in 94 and Holy Cross in 07. So that's how the championship thing shakes down in conference. It's always fun to guess at that stuff, man. You know, see how these programs have come and gone.
And as far as there being a Patriots or whatever of the girls' side, there's good programs and good teams. Paul Six is always a really great squad. McNamara and St. John's are heavyweights. They're not just conference heavyweights; they're national heavyweights. Yeah. It's unbelievable that they're banging each other up, home and away inside the conference. That Miami team isn't being challenged like that.
No, Miami Country Day is not playing anyone else like. You know, they did a good job. They took AZ Flood out of the game. They didn't let her get a 3 off. They shut her down, and they said someone else beat us. Yeah. Not that Coach Scribner hasn't seen that. Coach Scribner has had in his reign at St. John's 5 teams finish in the top 10 in the nation.
Yeah,
4 of those teams finished top 5.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
He's going to be here,
Frank
by
Oliver
the way, in
knows
like an
what
hour.
he's doing.
Check us out.
Yeah, absolutely.
On later.
Coach Scribner's coming by. He's going to stop by. I think he'll be here for the Hot Box. We'll probably start in like 45
If you're a hoop
minutes.
head, then tune in and then check us out on Saturday. Check us out again on Tuesday. T. Strachan and I are going to play one-on-one 2 hours before tip-off.
It's going to be great for charity. For charity.
Yes.
Charity.
The charity of the winner's choice, which seems that we both agreed on continental pizza. Was that?
First of all, that's
the default.
That's the worst bet ever because I can participate in that. You guys have had a million continental bets. I know
I still owe one.
A souvlaki one.
Keegan got involved. I don't know.
Picking the right time for it.
All right, so McNamara and St. John's, 2:00 tip. We'll probably go live somewhere around 1:30 from the gym at St. John's. We'll have some cool guests. We're going to be back at St. John's next Tuesday night. No basement show. We'll be live broadcasting St. John's, hosting the DeMatha Stags. It's going to be an awesome night of high school basketball. It'll be different. People are like, it's fun to see those guys talking in Kent's basement, but one of the top-ranked teams in the country, battling a St. John's squad in their home gym.
Hey,
it's pretty good
home gym. You bring the rocks glasses. Let's have a night. Let's stay true. Hey, DeMatha, the number 1 team in the Post, the number 5 team in the USA Today, and Max Preps. I mean, wow. I mean, this is going to be a big deal. I know the cadets, since I can remember, have gotten fired up. I've driven with T. Strachan and Pooh Strachan in the car to go watch the cadets take on the DeMatha Stags long before he was a Stag. He had way more scarlet and gray in his world at that time.
We're
going to do it again on Tuesday.
9 times?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Was it 9 times or 10? I think it was 9. It was at least 9.
It was definitely 9.
We were in this rivalry, so.
Yeah.
Our first 3 high school basketball games broadcast on First Amendment Sports. The average national ranking of all teams involved is like 3.8 or 4. That's just insane.
It's not right.
And that's because St. John's, they're not top 25, but they are. They have a number, and I looked it up, and it's insane. We have St. John's and McNamara twice each, and DeMatha. One other opponent who actually does have a decent national number. Yeah, the national ranking average of the teams that we're bringing you guys.
That's why we do it.
It's insane.
That's why we do it.
How are we going to get out of here tonight? We got some
we got to
fun
hit a couple.
facts.
We got to hit a couple. Yes. Boys hockey. We've got DeMatha, number 1. The Cadets of St. John's at number 4. Yes. O'Connell, number 7. And Gonzaga, number 8. That's in the area, not just the conference. That's how we're doing it. Girls hockey. St. John's is taking on Holy Cross next Wednesday for the WCAC title. We've got some other interesting facts.
Which we'll be bringing you guys next year. Next year, we're in for all of it.
I'm just learning how big hockey in general, but also girls hockey is right now in this area. It's huge.
Yep. I got a tip of the cap to Mordecai. We talked about him heading to Reykjavik, Iceland to represent the United States of America. Well, he anchored the National Scholastic Athletic Association men's winning 4x200 team at the Reykjavik International Games in Iceland. He anchored it. They took the gold. Another.
I can just hear him pounding that track all the way from
another
Reykjavik.
feather in the cap. That young man's had accolades coming over him week by week. The St. John's wrestling team. I mean, good lordy, 3 years in a row. Coach Cam Watkins, back to back to back. Real quick, we have Taj Martinez, Luke Kowalski, T.J. Stewart, Seamus Selmy, Jake Sita, and Chaz Keen all took championships on the route.
WCAC, all WCAC in their weight class?
They all finished first. They all won the WCAC championship individually. In the final match of the day, St. Mary's Riken had a 1-point lead heading into the final match.
Wow.
And
what weight class was it?
285, the big dogs, and Mr. Keen, a sophomore. All those kids I just listed, only one senior, Seamus Selma. He's the only senior. Look for St. John's to be back in the mix again next year. Tip of the cap. Like I said, Cam Watkins was just doing it. He's just doing it well over in the Father Klein Stuber Wrestling Room at St. John's. He is holding it down for the cadets.
Where did they have the WCAC tournament this year?
At Good Counsel. Good Counsel has been hosting as of late.
I want to say the year I was in it was at DeMatha, but I could be wrong.
Very well could have, yeah.
God, I tip my hat to all those guys. That winning the WCAC tournament, I have such huge respect for the guys who can because I know what goes into it. I know how the guys sucking weight towards a tournament like that where the level of competition you're going to play at 10, 15 pounds and trying to get down. And then, but that the guy you're going against is also doing the exact same thing, and these guys are killers.
Yeah.
Grueling
sport, man.
Got my ass kicked in that tournament. I tip my hat to the guys who did the ass kicking.
There's no need for you to admit that.
No. I did.
Fine.
I did.
You just roll with
it's still funny.
I was there.
It is a fact. It is a fact.
Fair enough. Well, you know what?
I stood in there though.
There were some other guys that did a little leg kicking. At Riken, they finished second. That was the battle that came down to the end. Evan Eldridge, Blake Jury, Alex Figueres, and Sammy Smirnov. Those guys all took down championships in the league. And Billy Turner from Gonzaga at 152 pounds was named the most outstanding wrestler with Ryan Smith from Gonzaga. He was at the 220, but Billy Turner was the most outstanding wrestler of the tournament. Real quick, the boys track and field team at McNamara, the Mustangs, won the private independent school championship at Georgetown Prep over the weekend.
Good job.
Jakia Brown Turner at McNamara became McNamara's girls basketball players' all-time leading scorer in the history of the program.
McDonald's All-American.
Coming off an All-American McDonald's week. She's had a bunch of fun. Can't wait to see her again on Saturday. Aaliyah Matheru, who we also will see on Saturday, was this week's USA Today Super 25 top star in the nation.
So she's going to Fairleigh Dickinson. That's the whole thing right now. People, I don't know why. What people don't. I thought that some of her shots were either ill-advised or ill-conceived. She took some tough shots in that game, but there were times. And please watch if you're going to watch the game on Saturday. Just check out the game we did. The first game at McNamara.
Still there?
Because. There were times when Aaliyah was bringing the ball down the court, when she passed half court, she was in attack mode. And when she made her mind up to get to the hoop, she just did. And it got harder for her in the third and fourth quarter. But man, she was the engine.
She's a cutthroat competitor. There's no doubt about it.
That's what it shows.
With athleticism, and happened to take a peek at that today. 29 points on 10 for 22 shooting, almost 50%. I know there was a couple there, but she just got work done. 4 rebounds, 4 assists. 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 2 assists, and 2 threes.
The steals were timely.
Moments. She played awesome defense. She led the team. She was an absolute beast, and the United States of America thought so, because here's what happened this week. Very interesting story I read on USA Today this afternoon. Eileen Hayes of Riverdale. A school in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, who McNamara has beaten this season.
Played them.
And in the season, yes, they were number 8 in the country. McNamara took them down. Her best friend is Kelly Clarkson's stepdaughter. So Kelly Clarkson gets on Twitter, the Kelly Clarkson from American Idol, gets on Twitter, puts down the name Eileen Hayes of Riverdale. Please vote for her for USA Today Super 25 Top Star of the Week. Yeah, it wasn't enough.
Wow.
It wasn't enough.
That's amazing.
Because she finished second to Aaliyah Matheru, regardless of who's Idol and American Singing and whatever those shows are. Simon Cowell. Yeah, guess what?
Kelly
Simon
Clarkson,
Cowell?
stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly. Don't
She
mess
took
with
down
don't mess
Kelly
with WCAC.
Clarkson.
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing.
Listen, since you've been gone, this all happened really quickly. I just thought that was pretty awesome. Shout out to Ty Kane, WCAC champ at the 135 pound. And how about this stat? DeMatha won their 20th game in basketball on the men's side, on the boys' side. 60 out of 64 years, they've won 20 games. I know we've already hit on all this.
60 out of 64.
Just melt into your chair.
I think as proud as I am to have been a part of that 60, I think was a part of the other 4 where we were.
I know you were. It's all right. You know what? You just do the best you can, Tia. What else are we gonna do here? I think
that was the year he crossed 1,000 too.
The last thing I want to share with you guys, we talked about it a little bit before we went on the show. Josh Pascal from Good Counsel High School.
Yes.
Heads down to the University of Kentucky. As the season starts this year, he thinks he has a blood blister on his heel. He goes into the training staff. Shout out to the Kentucky training staff. I mean, that is just modern medicine at its finest. The young man trainer understood that it was not a blood blister that would have evaporated, that the skin would have worn off. It would have taken a different route in healing. He said, get right to your dermatologist. Thank God they caught it fast. They caught it as early as you can possibly catch it. He did go. It was it's a very aggressive form of cancer, a malignant melanoma. It's a skin cancer that's extremely, extremely aggressive. They caught it very early. He did not play the first 9 weeks of the season. His whole team backed him up. We talked about Josh Allen there, a top 10 draft pick, maybe a top 5 guy somewhere, team leader. Kentucky had their best season in school history, and JP was a big part of it. Their O-line coach developed a slight form of cancer that he's beaten as well, but JP was the big story, and if you watch him on it, check it out. Kentucky just sent out a thing yesterday. It's about a 10-minute long narrated piece on faith, family, friends, and football, and Josh Pascal emulates every aspect of those categories. His positive attitude and the way he calmly dealt with this, guys, it blew me away. I know I was talking about it the whole time. I mean, listen, in week 10, they play Middle Tennessee State, and they start him.
Yeah, he made it back.
At defensive end. And there was not a dry eye on the sidelines. He went through multiple surgeries. He went through treatment for about 10 weeks. And you go through all that, and you just maintain that positive attitude. Then you get out there on the field, not only start, but get in the mix with a couple tackles in the sack. Have at it, young man. Congratulations for everything you've done, beating this ridiculous disease that affects all of us at every level. It's so great to hear that terrible C word mentioned in a positive light that you took it to. Josh Pascal.
Pascal.
You got a bunch of fans down here in this basement for eternity. Can't wait to watch you continue to do your thing, bud.
We'd love to have him on as a guest at some
I
point.
think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
We might have to get in line, but I think with a guy like that,
we'll pay for the Uber.
Yeah, he knows.
Pay for the Uber. It's the least we can do.
Yeah, shout out to that young man. What a great story. Check it out. Great. Check it out if you haven't.
Check us out on Saturday afternoon until 2 p.m. or 1:30, I think was what we're saying.
Yeah, let's do that.
WCAC Spectacular will be on a break. He's Tim Strachan.
I appreciate it, guys. Great being back here, talk about a great conference.
That's right. He's Kevin Ricca.
I can't wait to get into the basketball portion of this cutthroat league that we adore so much. Girls and guys are about to have at it. Hey, all of you guys stay healthy, do good, take care of your schoolwork. Let's all celebrate this properly.
Stay in school.
That's right.
On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Still live. Still live. Smash that subscribe button.
Come back Saturday and Tuesday.
I can't wait. I mean, this kid, Josh Pascal, is so calm. He is just absolutely.
I got to check that out.
It's